And we're live. Good morning.
Morning.
How you doing?
Oh, it's not bad. It's not the morning here anymore.
Good afternoon to you.
Uh-huh.
Well, I just woke up a little while ago. So, and you know what? I didn't even have to do much because my makeup didn't move. My eyeliner didn't move at all.
Classy.
Yeah. Well, I was meaning to just take a 45-minute nap last night, and then I just ended up sleeping. And that was at 7 o'clock.
Jesus
I
Christ. I
was
don't
up at
think, yeah.
6. I guess that's what happens. Like working twice during the week, I just get tired, but I don't sleep that much. Usually Friday nights, I sleep and I sleep in on until I sleep in on Saturday morning, and I guess that's sleeping in for me is 6. I woke up at 4:30, and I was like, I think this is unacceptable for a Saturday morning. I think I should actually try and get more sleep. Just fuck it.
Ah, there we go. Sorry. YouTube doesn't tell me that you're alive, even though I know that you're alive because I'm live with you.
Do you have
But
your
YouTube doesn't.
notifications off?
No, they're on. You've got the little bell icon done and everything, but it doesn't tell me shit. Didn't even appear in my subscriptions list that you were a live channel. YouTube sucks at live
Maybe
streaming.
I'm shadow banned. Woo! I'm
Yeah,
so
I
important.
like
I'm
the way
shadow banned.
people fucking jump to YouTube being nefarious for shit like that. It's like, no,
No,
they're just crap.
they're just broken. Yeah. I was just talking to you. I just found out this morning because I was looking through my WhatsApp, and one of my friends was like, "Oh yeah, we got to see this movie. The guy who played Black Panther died." And I was like, "What? Wasn't he young?" Which, by the
43,
way,
same age as me.
he's 43?
Wait, what?
Oh, well, yeah, he was. Oh, that's so sad. He had cancer or
Mm.
something?
Yeah, colon cancer for 4 years, apparently.
Holy fuck, that sucks.
Yeah, yeah, it really does suck. I mean, and I feel a bit guilty because
You didn't like Black
I
Panther?
I hated Black Panther. I
I
thought
that
it
was
was
my
shit. I
least
thought it was
favorite.
shit.
I did
I
too.
thought it was. I wouldn't say it's my least favorite, but it was definitely down there
It
with my
was
least favorite.
Yeah. I mean, out of the Marvel movies, it was the one I
Now,
liked.
have you seen Captain Marvel?
I liked it.
I didn't.
I liked
I
Captain
didn't,
Marvel
I
actually.
didn't think it. I didn't think it was the worst thing that I'd ever seen, but it was the worst Marvel film.
Really? You think so? Why? Because you don't like Brie Larson? Because I think that was the complaint a lot of people had.
Um, Not well. I mean, I guess yeah, but I can see past that. Look at the art, not the artist, kind of thing. For me, it was more of the really sort of smashing you around the head sort of injection of sort of social justice politics into it that just irritated me.
Like, I feel like that movie
I
was
think
gonna be.
Black Panther had that too, but
Yeah.
Captain Marvel was worse.
Oh, I felt like it was more prominent to me in Black Panther than in Captain Marvel. I expect girl movies to be very kind of girl power and blah blah blah.
I don't mind that. I just it's fair. Fair enough. It is what it is. Like you say, girl movies. But
Yeah.
in
Rude.
in the context of the MCU, I thought it felt very out of place,
Okay.
personally.
All right.
But I mean, let's be honest. If we're choosing between Black Panther and Captain Marvel, they're at the same end of that totem pole.
Yeah.
They're right down there at the bottom.
Yeah, that's true.
It doesn't. One can be right at the bottom, one can be above the other. But with that said, both of them, I didn't absolutely hate them. I just thought they were the worst of the MCU
Yeah,
films.
I'm with you on that. So, what was your favorite one then?
Captain America: Civil War.
Oh my God, Winter Soldier was really good too.
It's I
Civil War
put
was
civil.
fucking good, though. You're
I put
right.
Civil War above the actual Avengers films.
Yeah,
That's
the Avengers films are not at the top of my list. Like, I liked
Oh,
the
they're
individual
near
ones.
the top. Like the
Yeah,
first one, especially, is like
Oh, the first one was
probably
so good. The third one, I
after
was like,
Civil War.
meh. I expected the
Yeah,
third one to be like really good, but I feel like there like
yeah,
the special effects were excellent and stuff, but that doesn't compensate for like how meh the movie was, you know?
right. So I'll tell you, and I'm sure you know what's coming. The part of the last Avengers film where I just thought, "Fuck this film," really was that part where they're in the middle of this like amazing, pretty, very well executed visually,
Yeah.
massive battle at the end, and then for some reason all of the women found each other and were in like a montage scene together, and it's like, just eat shit, film. Just eat shit. This is bullshit. You can even tell like half of the fucking actresses who were involved were like, oh god, this is embarrassing.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. And then it was that slow pan, and it's just all of them, and their hair is like blowing.
It just felt really out of place. Again, I have no real objection to a bit of girl power solidarity if it's come to organically, but it
Yeah.
wasn't.
No.
It was just like shoved in there, and
Yeah.
then everybody went back to their own corners, and it was just fucking shit. It's just,
Yeah. That was one
it
of the
really took
social
me out of
justice
it.
moments, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the article that we had read that you had sent me, that let's just jump into the controversy, I guess, whatever. I don't remember that guy's name. I do remember the article.
I'm looking at it right now. It's Jacob Blake. That's the only reason I know it. I wouldn't have remembered that either.
Look at you. You're so organized. I'm glad you are, because I'm not. I just woke up, so you can be the brain today. I mean, usually
I can't. No, but the thing is, I'm actually reading the article now because I can't remember what happened or why we were actually like going to talk about this.
So the video.
The dude was okay.
He was shot in the back, right, by the cops, and then obviously the video that was circulating around was not of the escalation or any of the prior contacts before the escalation occurred, but just when the guy got shot in the back. And then BBC did that weird thing where they gave you like the brief synopsis of what they thought happened at the time, and then they talk about his family and a little bit of his history. Actually,
they talked about his family, who his grandfather was a pastor,
right,
and had the same name, and that's what they talked about. This other guy called Jacob who did loads of really good things
and community service and all that stuff. And then at the end of that was a little blurb of like, Jacob Blake has some sexual assault allegations against him and blah blah blah. And it was like the smallest thing that you would actually have to read down the article to notice it was there at all. And I'm like, I remember the first thing you had said was, I don't understand how like his father being a pastor and doing all this community grandfather is relevant to this character. But if you're not an apt reader, you're gonna confuse the two. Plus, they have the same fucking name, so you could easily be like, oh my god, he used to do volunteer work, blah blah blah. And he also, it's like asterisk. Oh, by the way, don't forget about the sexual assault allegations.
Where is it? Hang on. Right, here we go. His family have a long history of community activism. Mr. Blake's grandfather, also called Jacob, was a pastor at a church in Evanston and a local leader in the civil rights movement. He was also a prolific campaigner for affordable housing and led his congregation in constructing a housing block in the city. None of which had anything to do whatsoever with the guy that got shot. No. Nothing. Had nothing to do with him. Why mention it? And then, you're right. Like a few paragraphs later, it's like, court records show there was an active arrest warrant against Mr. Blake related to charges of sexual, not Jacob, Mr. Blake.
Mr. Blake.
Related to charges of sexual assault, trespassing, and disorderly conduct. But it's unclear if the police were aware of this at the time of shooting. Whether they were unaware of it or not, I would imagine that the way the guy was acting probably sort of has some sort of relation to those charges that were against him. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the charges were all bullshit.
Maybe. But you see things like, like we can also look at the other end of the story. Okay, we know that he was shot, 7 times or something? Was it 7?
Yes, I think it was 7.
I mean, is that necessary? We can admit that that's
right. Okay, that's so let's separate this out. I do think the reaction, as with that the dude who died with the knee to the neck, that guy, George Floyd. I do think that if you separate it from the the emotion of what happened, I do think that the actual actions themselves were maybe over the top,
Yeah.
personally.
Yeah.
But as with the George Floyd thing, the actions were understandable and they were within the sort of the remit of the police. What the police are trained to do.
Yeah.
So. And both perpetrators in both cases were both dealing with the police and both knew that that's how the police are trained.
Yeah.
This isn't a surprise. If in America, if the police tell you to do something and want you to cooperate with them, you fucking cooperate with
But
them.
that's not just
Otherwise,
America. That's not just America.
No. But especially in America, because they can shoot, they can, and they will absolutely shoot you. Like in Canada, the police carry guns, but you're not going to get shot by the police in Canada, are you? Not really.
People here listen, and you know what? The police are very nice here, and the thing that,
police are really nice in America as well, from what I've seen. To be honest,
but they
try.
But they're particularly nice here, there's people that I've known throughout the years who will complain, "I fucking don't like cops, man. I got in shit for smoking weed." It's like, where were you smoking weed? Were you in a public place? And this is when weed was not legal. Were you in a public place? Were you smoking around children? Were you being a fucking menace to society or being rude or something like that? Because if that is the case, then you're attracting attention to yourself. Yes, you're going to attract the attention of police if they're near you, and they're going to tell you not to do something that's not legal. So for fuck's sake, can we just deal with,
I'm just sick of seeing these stories come out of America of people who were blatantly antagonistic, violent, uncooperative, blah, 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 with the police.
Yeah.
And then, pay the price for it.
Yeah.
And that's somehow the police's fault.
That's just the climate. That's just
I think you can make the broader argument that the way the police are trained is wrong.
Sure.
Which is true, I think. But the police are trained like that, and everybody knows it.
Yeah.
Everybody knows it.
And the number one rule is don't resist arrest. Whether you did something or not, if you don't want problems, if you didn't do nothing, man, then just fucking go to the cop shop and deal with things legally.
The worst that's going to happen is if you didn't actually do anything, they're going to take you in, they're going to book you, and they're probably going to let you go.
Right.
If you didn't do anything. Or maybe they'll charge you.
Maybe.
And then let you go.
Yeah.
And then they'll find out you didn't do anything.
Yeah, and you know what that prevents? Getting shot.
Uh-huh.
It's awkward and it's difficult to have these conversations. It's always gonna be
But notice how we've had this entire conversation so far without once mentioning the R word.
Yeah. Because I don't think my first instinct when there's a police situation is not fucking racist. Oh, it's a black dude who's involved. There must be racism. There's several instances in Baltimore. Remember when Freddie Gray happened? Everybody neglected to mention. Freddie Gray was the gentleman who died in the ambulance, I believe.
Our ambulance is deadly in Baltimore. What the fuck?
I don't know if it was an ambulance. Maybe it was the back of the cop car. What my main point here, I'm mixing up things because it was quite some time ago, but there were black police officers involved and they made that a racial issue. Which was really weird.
The George Floyd thing. Yes, the guy performing the neck sitting maneuver was white, but one of the other cops was Chinese, Asian.
But do you see what it's doing to us trying to have that conversation? Is it because it's pushed out as a racist problem? We are now discussing the races of the cops involved, which isn't necessary. It adds to that conversation.
It isn't, but it in a lot of times, when you sort of deconstruct it, it does sort of even exposes the hypocrisy and inaccuracies of the race argument too.
Exactly.
It's like you're not actually interested in it being a race thing. You're interested in just victimhood generally.
Yeah.
Really, you're looking for a way to be victim, for one group of people to be a victim and one group of people to be the evil ones. That's what you want. Because you want that acrimony to be able to, I don't know, sell your product, whatever that product is.
It's definitely just not a safe thing in general to make the police anathema. You know what I mean? Like, the police are the white blood cells of society. They're out there. That's their general job. You know what I mean? Nobody's saying there's not a bad cop here or there. That's obviously not the case, but it's not a good idea to just have that general idea towards people that we kind of trust to keep the peace in society, which obviously, especially during right now in America in particular, is incredibly important. But then you see, I was listening to that Sam Harris podcast. Did you listen to that yet? Can we pull back from the brink?
No.
So
no.
the
I have a
conversation,
very short attention span. If it's more than 15 minutes, I have a problem with it.
It's probably one of his longer ones. It was definitely a couple hours, and it was a solo one. And he discusses the police brutality / racism issue in America. And I think of every single person who has had that discussion about, police violence or brutality in America, that was probably the most, it was the most eloquent, and it was the most measured and calm one, which, as much as it is an inflammatory issue, I think it's very important to talk about that situation in a dispassionate, kind of factual sort of way. And he broke down the numbers. I mean, it's not like we haven't seen the numbers been broke down before, but it's important how the message is delivered, because as much as we think so or don't, it is an incredibly sensitive topic, and I think it needs to be managed with a little bit of care. And he definitely put in that extra work to ensure that, you can't get offended by just the way things are borne out by numbers. Like, we have to look, you can't have justice without looking at the facts. If your justice or your activism or whatever isn't based on factual information, then you're not really engaging in justice, are you? Look at you adjusting your camera.
Yeah, I know, right? But the technology, apart from it doesn't adjust that much, I just got to physically move this way. There we go.
Let me see. I might need to do that too, because I look like I'm on the side a little bit.
Yeah. This is all the kind of shit that you meant to do before you start streaming, but
who cares? I'm not a professional channel. We're just fucking yahoos. Anyways, that episode was very important, and that's a thing that we talked about last time too. Is you hear about it the first time, it gets purported as this big fucking racist thing. Oh shit, it's black guys versus white cops. That's always a situation. There cannot be any sort of criminal activity involved. No. The way that people make it sound is that cops are just like walking in a line down the street and just blasting people, like, for no reason. Like, they woke up in the morning with the resolve to shoot a black dude, and that's their goal, and that's what they're gonna do. Oh, they did it? Guess what? Everybody's gonna fucking react to it and freak out and hop on Reddit and hop on Instagram. Like, Instagram was my last bastion. Reddit. My work husband Michael's so funny because he's like, I used to come to Reddit, Amy, to fucking escape all this shit, because I don't give a fuck about any of the politics. I don't care what anybody's opinion is on any of this shit. I don't care. It has nothing to do with my life. I just want to live my life, and I just want to look at dank memes, okay? But I can't do that. I can't do that now, because every story or every second or third post is about Black Lives Matter or whatever. And it comes here. It comes to Canada. And this is why I'm kind of noticing it more. So on Thursday, there was supposed to be a NHL playoff game that the Vancouver Canucks were going to play. I think I had sent you that article. But the NHL was being urged to cancel that game because of protests.
Is that hockey?
Yes, sir. That's hockey.
Okay.
The playoff game was canceled, and then, Michael and I were kind of looking at Reddit, and he's like, oh, fuck. And I was like, what? And he's like, playoff game's canceled today. And I'm like, what do you mean canceled? And then I look at the article and it's like, Black Lives Matter is urging the NHL to cancel their games and cancel this game. And they want the NHL to cancel all their games. And it's due to this racist attitude or whatever it is that they're like, why isn't the NHL participating in this fucking protest right now? And it's just like, because they have nothing to do with it. They employ black people, don't they? Look, here's the thing. It's not about employing blacks or whites. It's about employing people who are skilled enough to play at that level. Can you play at that level? Because if you can, guess what? You're probably going to get a deal with the NHL. It has nothing to do with your skin color. Oh, well, there's not as many black people. Well, there's not as many white people in the NBA. So is the NBA racist now? Oh, no, because you can't be racist against whites. You can only be racist against blacks. Like, it's just weird logic. Like, people, Michael is very much like, I want to watch sports because it's or hockey because it's something that I enjoy to do. I don't care about any of the political issues, but they're just being forced into places where, like, people go to enjoy things that have absolutely it's just friendly competition. People want to watch that. People want to watch elite athletes engage in this sort of competition, and they're on their team, and that's about it. Like, they don't have any other connection to it. But, like, when it's being made into a black-white issue, it's fucking so frustrating. I feel frustrated for people, right? Because it's like, what if I liked hockey? Then I would feel the same way, where it's like, I just want to watch the game. Your skin color doesn't matter to me. Like, can you play the game? That's all I care about.
Does this this event in the UK, the fucking, I can't remember what it's called, BBC Proms or something. I don't know, something to do with fucking music and orchestras and shit like that.
Yeah.
And this year, they announced that they're not going to have like the songs with the lyrics like Rule Britannia and places like that. They're not going to have any singing there. They're just going to do the music.
Okay.
So the BBC specifically, this is where I started jumping all over this, basically saying this is a response to, basically saying this was a good thing and this is a response to racism and all that shit because of our colonial past. And they completely ignored what the organisers of the event actually said was the reason for doing this.
Why? Tell me.
You don't have singing in crowds because at the moment, which when I actually heard it initially was where I thought, that was where my mind went instantly. It's like, well, that makes sense. You don't want to have loads of people singing around each other. I get that. But no. It was about race. But it wasn't. I don't think, well, as far as I'm aware, it wasn't.
It makes me wonder sometimes. I'm like, do these people want a race war? Like, do you actually want that shit? Because I guess so, because it'll make the news more exciting because, when you're just listening to news, it's, I guess, boring or something?
It's bizarre. Yeah, the news has turned into this sort of like...
The news is supposed to be boring, you fucks. Like, it's not supposed to be...
it's like they've gamified it because all of the various news outlets are effectively in competition with each other.
Yeah.
They've gamified it. So they need to make their product as salacious as possible.
Clickbaity.
So
it's
that
all clickbait culture.
More people watch it or listen to it or consume it or whatever.
Yes.
And it's so fucking frustrating.
Yeah.
It's like, as you say, just report the news. I don't care if it's boring. My wish when I listen to the news is to be bored by it.
Exactly.
That's what I want.
Well, first it was Walter Cronkite, right? The Walter Cronkite, like old school newscaster types who would come on and they would just tell you exactly what's happening. Then they started getting female news anchors and their skirts were getting shorter, and then more people started watching. Yeah, I'm fine with that too, by the way. No problem. But
that is a good way of making news more interesting.
Yes, just give me the news though. If you're gonna give me legs, give me news with legs,
Ooh, news porn. There we go.
I'm even fine with that as long as it's factual.
Yeah. No, I think we might have cracked a new category of programming
porn,
here.
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
or even, I mean, obviously you can't have porn on
But
sort of national TV. But you could have,
softcore.
yeah, it's sort of like lingerie kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. But
Yeah,
just
and
don't lie to
no
me.
dudes,
No, dude.
just women.
Yeah, just okay. If we are having a hard time getting people watching the news, that is all you need to do. Just get an army of Megyn Kellys, put them on, and let them tell me the news factually. But it would be so funny to hear about people's associations. Oh, her bra strap slipped when she was telling me about George Floyd and his situation. You know, like people will remember.
Right.
People will remember.
Yeah, when you put it like that, I just don't think it can work. But it's an interesting idea.
It'll give you a boner in the moment, but after it's all over and you've dealt with your boner, I'm sure you'll remember those things in that way, right? You'll associate certain parts of the story with certain things happening to their articles of clothing, whether it's just like a little slip or something like that, because like you shouldn't need to dress up the news and create fake stories and create fake fucking emotional height with things that aren't happening.
That's the thing, though, isn't it? They're not creating fake stories, but it's the way that they're presenting the information that they are giving you.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you're
right. It's more insidious than just making up lies, because they're actually telling you the truth, but they're framing it in a way that is dishonest.
Yes.
And it's also more difficult to nail down exactly how they're being dishonest as well.
Yeah.
For sort of regular consumers of this information.
Yes. So well, I mean, we're talking about people who. What happened?
My headphones just fucked up.
Oh, I can hear you fine though. Everything is working.
Hang on.
All right. Standing by.
Hang on. This guard might screw up now. Or it might not. Speak.
Hi.
There we go. That's working now. Can you hear me?
Yes, I could hear you the whole time. Sound great.
Fantastic. Yeah, there's for some reason these headphones just every now and then just decide to disconnect.
That's all right. Is it because it's dying or something, or just because?
No. They just do. The receiver's there. The headphones are here.
Yeah. So, now for something totally different. Did you catch any of Joe Biden's speech at the Democratic National Convention?
I did not.
Okay, so I watched that and I started watching Trump's speech at the RNC. First thing I just want to compare. Biden's speech was about 24 minutes, okay? There was no crowd. Hold on. There was no crowd. So good on the Dems for that. Good on the Dems for not having a fucking giant crowd of people.
Was there no crowd because no one was interested, though?
It could be. Or it certainly could be. Or it's more likely because they actually give a fuck about the COVID guidelines and they know not to have huge fucking rallies. Let's go to the Republican National Convention now. Huge fucking rally, okay? The first few minutes, Trump is talking about how we're going to be more responsible. We're going to beat the COVID virus. Everybody stands up. They pan to the crowd, and the crowd goes, USA! USA! And I'm like, oh my God, is the irony lost on everybody here right now? Like, you're talking about how we've done so great in the last 4 years, and it's been excellent, and we've been dealing with the virus while everybody is applauding and shouting USA. You're not supposed to have people that, it wasn't even a socially distanced crowd, okay? It was set up like a regular fucking convention is set up. The chairs were so close to each other. There was an aisle in the middle. There was no social distancing, no fucking masks, no nothing. And he's talking about how we're going to beat the virus. I'm pretty sure the reason the virus is such a problem it is in the States, Trump, is because of your failure to deal with it. And now you're sitting in front of everybody saying that you're going to beat the virus while there's like a sea of people in front of you. Insanity. So I just oh, by the way, his speech, 1 hour and 25 minutes.
Holy shit.
So good on Biden, okay? Good on Biden for keeping it short and concise. Trump, an hour and 20. I couldn't even get through all of it. I watched like the first 15 minutes and I was like, okay, I'll watch the rest later, because I was having fun with the Biden speech, watching it and reacting to it, because he said a lot of shit. And it's also so much more fun when there isn't a crowd, because there's no cheering unnecessarily. Like, people are cheering for stupid shit at the Republican National Convention. And I'm just like, you guys are like fucking robots or something. He could be like, I like beef dip, and everybody would fucking freak out and start clapping and just USA, USA. Oh my god. Just that alone was like,
Did they actually like live stream these speeches? Because, like, I mean, to be honest, I mean, I don't really see the, like, you could have live reactions from the crowd.
Online, you mean?
To Joe Biden's speech,
See,
I guess.
I think.
Then again, there's no way to really regulate that, I suppose.
I mean, I'm sure that there were a couple of news channels that were streaming it. I think, obviously, Fox News was streaming the RNC. I don't know if there was a chat function or what, but you know, for the RNC, that doesn't really matter, because he had a fucking crowd of like a shit ton of people there.
I don't know. I just don't think, I don't understand why they would rely on news channels to broadcast their broadcast. Why don't they just do it themselves? I mean, it's not like you can't stream onto YouTube. You're doing it right now. It's really easy.
He might have.
Twitch. Yeah. I don't know that Twitch, that what they call it, DNC. I don't know. They don't have a Twitch channel, but maybe they do. Maybe they don't.
I mean, I don't know. That the RNC and the DNC are just like, Trump goes, I profoundly accept the nomination. And I'm like, what do you mean profoundly accept, Trump? What the fuck do you think that means? I profoundly accept the nomination for your Republican fucking president running whatever.
Was it you who was saying that that apparently somebody analysed the way that Trump talks, and it's like he's like a 9-year-old or something?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay.
But he used the word profoundly, and if you don't care and you're just like, ooh, big word, Trump used a big word, you know, you will get caught up in just the fact that he does.
It's like the amount of young people that use the word literally.
Ugh.
And they clearly don't understand. Like, I was in a live stream earlier, and it was like silent, and then music came on like quite loud, and somebody wrote in the chat, I literally just shit myself. Like, no, you didn't. No, you didn't.
Oh, I don't know. That was just really funny to me. I was, oh my god, it's just so fucking whack ass to see that speech. Oh, and then Biden's speech ended with, and when I looked down at that little girl, I think he was talking about his daughter or his niece or maybe his granddaughter or something.
He does like little girls.
And then he goes, and she looked at me and she said, oh no, it was his daughter. Because she goes, Daddy changed the world. Daddy changed the world. And his face went all serious. And I'm like, oh no, it's so creepy. It's just so creepy. And there's no reaction.
I mean, I will be very clear. I don't think America's got a good choice. Any good choices in November?
No, it's so bad. It's so bad. Everything is starting to pour over into Canada too, and it's just like, Michael looked at me. He's like, "Where in Canada do we have a problem with the 5 black people who live here?" And I'm like. I'm like, I don't know, cause like over here, our crime, like if we're gonna talk about crime based on race, over here where I live, it's mostly Indian people, Indian dudes who commit the crime. It's very rare. First of all, it is like so incredible to see a black man walking outside, right?
You just said you even have black people
barely.
Where you live.
And when I do see them,
it's like where I live then.
Yeah. And when we do see black people here, they're with their family. We got the wholesome, like, not criminal blacks, I guess.
I was just gonna say that when I have like regularly seen black people. It's been like in the morning when they're taking their kids to school and stuff. It's like,
right? They're so lovely here. I'm like,
they're,
and then there's like Black Lives Matter protests here now. Like they're pouring in. Like it's starting to gain traction because America's doing it. Like we just got to copy America, I guess. Like I don't really understand well, can the word logic even be used, really? But you know, like I don't.
I had Trump Towers in Vancouver shut down.
Yeah, I
so
sent you that yesterday.
Where are people going to protest now?
I don't know, but I love it. Because fuck you guys. He's not your president, man. Like, we talk about it. It's fun to talk about, but, like, he's not my president.
It amused me to read that although it was Trump Towers, it wasn't, like, owned by Donald Trump or even run by him or his companies.
Just his name on the building.
It was just his name.
That's it. That's it. But that name has so much goddamn traction. You know what I mean? Like, everybody knows who Trump is. So it just... Because it's a Trump Tower, you have expectations of a way things are going to be. You want to use those nice Trump black towels with the gold embroidered T on them, which, by the way, are made in China. And you want all the soaps and you want all that stuff, right? Like, it's just, it's imitation luxury. It's like you can get a Louis Vuitton fake bag made by China and you can't even really tell the difference unless you see that there's a tag on it that says made in China because the imitations are so good. So, you know, people buy into that fakery bullshit. People buy into the advertisements. People are, you know, we're brand whores in a way. And if something is well known or whatever, it automatically is counted as some sort of symbol of status. People care about status a lot more than we like to think they do. You know.
Yeah.
Not us.
I was going to say, I don't think I do, but yeah, I think you're right. People do care.
They really do. You know, it's, oh man, I got the new fucking Yeezys. And I'm like, what? What are those? Oh, Kanye West shoes. I'm like, oh, he makes shoes? I didn't even know. Like, I didn't even know that.
Kanye West confuses the shit out of me, and I'll tell you for why.
All right.
Because on the one hand, he does this thing where he's apparently running for president, which let's not even talk about the legalities and whatever happened there. But then, like, a week later, he isn't, for whatever reason, running for president, but now he's got bipolar disorder and he's said all sorts of horrible things about his wife. And it's like, this guy was running for president. This guy wanted to be, what the fuck? Surely he can't be both.
You have to notice...
And I've got nothing against people with bipolar disorder, but I just don't necessarily think they're best positioned to be president, leader of the most powerful country in the world.
Every time Kanye has had an episode, it's always been around a time where he's about to drop an album.
Oh, okay.
So it's always a publicity stunt.
That's very cynical, but all right.
No, that's just like, it's, if you look at when he freaked out at Taylor Swift when she won that award, he walked out on stage and was like, Beyonce was the best female recording artist of blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, oh, God. Shortly after, he dropped an album. He announced that he was going to run for president. And I think within the week, he dropped an album. He always acts like this, and he knows he can garner that attention when he wants to fucking do that. And people love it. People just love the fact that he's
his wife's obviously in on it as well. So yeah.
I mean, come on. A Kardashian and Kanye West, right? Like, these people are famous because why? She released a sex tape. That was her big claim to fame. Not the fact that like her dad was the lawyer at the O.J. Simpson trial.
She released it. She claimed that it was not deliberately released, or leaked.
All right, but, Kim. Yeah. And then, like, if you see clips from Keeping Up with the Kardashians, her sister asked her, she's like, why did you release a sex tape? And then Kim goes, because I was horny and I felt like it. Leaked.
At least that's an honest answer.
Yeah, I mean, why not just fucking say that from the fucking beginning? Because it can't look like that. You can't make people look like they're impure, especially if they're in the eyes of the public. It has to look like it was an accident. It was our private video. Somebody found it. Damsel in distress. Like these archetypes that women use to like.
Somebody found it, like you leave those videos lying around.
Obviously, like, not. But we live in an attention economy, don't we? And that's kind of what it's about, is like clicks, getting attention, whether for good or bad reasons, it doesn't fucking matter. And some people just, you know, they want to sell you clothes. And how do you do that? Well, if there's some salacious story that you're a part of, some people are just going to like that because they just do. Oh my God, look how much fucking attention this person gets, right? Like some people follow people just because they have a high following. Not because they necessarily like them. Like, that's enough for people to be attracted to somebody to follow them. Well, this person has so much attention. Now I'm curious. Now I'm just going to follow them to see. And, like, it's not, like, you know, I can't follow it because it's all the same shit again and again. It's like, oh, look, there's a booty pic. Oh, look, there's a picture where she's, like, half naked. Oh, look, it's just her. It's basically just like a normal person. But now you know her because, well, she's all made up and whatever. I don't really know. I'm just theorizing, you know?
To be honest, it's not really, that kind of thing isn't something I pay an awful lot of attention to on the...
I don't even care. I just like to watch what people do. And it's interesting when you see, like...
I think it's fascinating that these people can make money from behaving in this way.
But that's the problem, though. I think
it says an awful lot about the fact that people are willing to give them that attention.
It says more about the audience than it does about the person. Right?
And I'm not saying I'm better than them, but I low-key am saying that I'm better than them because my reaction when I see somebody behaving like that is not to give them attention, just to ignore them.
Exactly.
That I think is a much more you shouldn't reward that behavior.
No, that's what I was just saying. Remember we were talking about dogs ages ago?
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's really that simple. The reward system is really that simple. Is if you reward somebody for behaving a certain way, they're going to continue to do that. And then they get more attention for behaving that way. And I think a lot of the time it's because people wish they could fucking behave recklessly and not suffer the consequences in the way that you're supposed to. Because people really want consequence-free lives. Like, I want to be able to behave like a total asshole. Like, it always strikes me, you know, when I was talking to Banksy last week, he's like, I'm a total asshole on the internet. But if I'm seeing you at Speaker's Corner, I'm not going to behave like that. And I'm like, you know, you can't really separate yourself from behaving the way you do on the internet. And then when someone you've approached on the internet in a rude way is like, well, you were a total cunt on the internet. And now you're in person. You're like, yeah, well, now I'm in person. Now
I think that kind of separation, to be honest, is kind of the problem.
It's false. It's a false separation. That person is still you. You're just using the internet as a scapegoat to say, well, I'm not in front of you, therefore I can behave this, and this way.
You're just using the internet as an excuse to act like the cunt that you actually want to act like.
Bingo.
But are too cowardly to in person.
Yeah,
really.
And I always hear the story, right? I'm nothing like I am like on the internet. In real life, I'm like a really soft-spoken, sweet, nice person. Well, who the fuck cares then? You're giving yourself an excuse to be a cunt.
Yeah, so what you're saying is on the internet you're fake. So
right? You just can't separate. Good
for you.
You can't separate yourself from the person that you behave like in one place or the other. And we know that we do this thing in different social situations where we this is just by design. We don't do this consciously. It's a survival instinct to fit into your environment and to adapt to the current conditions of your environment. Therefore, if you're in a social circle you're not used to being in, what you're going to do is you're going to curtail your behavior in such a way that you can survive in that particular environment, or at least reduce the chances of being killed or whatever. Because remember, we still come from a place that we're not totally evolved out of, right? We're not totally adapted to this current situation and climate that we live in now. We, like, a lot of us is still adapted to how we lived in small tribes, etc., etc. And generally,
I would actually take that fair. I would say none of us are in any way adapted to the way that we're living now.
Yeah,
sort of
I agree. That's what I'm saying.
Sort of from an evolutionary point of view,
No, not at all.
Nobody is built for this.
No, not
Some
at all.
people are better at it than others,
Yes,
obviously,
of
but
course.
nobody's built for it.
No.
It's like psychologically.
No, not at all. Not at all. And like the amount of the amount of sheer information, like, I mean, it's very clear to see on a larger scale how destabilizing all the things that are happening are, right? Like, just it all depends on what avenue of information you want to drive down. And if you want to drive down the cops are killing black people, everything is racist, everything is sexist, everything is homophobic, and you got to point it out avenue, well, then your whole world is that, right? And the other thing is that YouTube, Google, all these things facilitate whatever it is, whatever avenue you want to continue to drive down. They continue to supply the fuel because that's what their algorithms do. They just want to tailor advertisements and these things to you based on what you think. And like, we don't know it, but I mean, a lot of people aren't conscious of the fact that they're providing so much information about their psychological disposition based on the things that they read and listen to, that the ads and everything that are tailored to them are actually increasing revenue for these companies, which is exactly what their interest is at the end of the day. It's a big thing, you know. That's why
Ultimately, I'm kind of the opinion though that these companies, none of them, like YouTube or whatever, none of them are in my opinion, deliberately bad actors. I think they're just doing what they're doing. They're making money, how they make money.
Right.
And I think that it's the consumers of these products, i.e. the general public, of which we're all part, that really need to take some sort of personal responsibility for the way that they act.
People like being followers, though.
It's very, very, very easy to not fall into line with what the YouTube algorithm is trying to make you do. And in fact, if you didn't behave like that, then that would change the way the YouTube algorithm acted too.
Exactly.
So the YouTube algorithm, just to use that as my continuing example, it's just a reflection of the people that use it.
Exactly.
It's not a reflection on Google or YouTube. Right. Not really. No. And over and above the fact that Google and YouTube are just, they're organizations that exist to make money. Well, yes, and they make money through these algorithms, which learn from the people that are using it. That's the mechanism by which they make money, but it's the people that inform the way the algorithm works. And it's and too often, I've seen like people blame Google or Facebook or whatever for say they should micromanage the way their algorithm works in certain situations, where really it's the people who are using the platforms who have made the algorithm behave in the way that it does, and that's never acknowledged.
No, never.
I don't think.
And there is a little bit of weird shit where, if you are saying something that they don't like, they will remove you. But I think that has more to do with the fact that that's the thing that is counter to that goal of increasing revenue, right? So, like,
I know there's a sort of weird duality, but
it is
that weird. You are, you're right. That's what happens when sort of individuals within, like you've heard about this from coming out of Disney recently. I don't know how true it is, but you've heard about this coming out of Disney, where basically Disney have apparently sent the internal memo that basically to all their employees that they don't care what you think. Disney is there to make money.
Yeah.
So you can keep your ideology out of the product if it's preventing us from making money. This is because I think, well, if it's true, this is a result of Disney potentially, actually losing out, and things like it's the Star Wars franchise and stuff has been completely fucked. Don't get me wrong, it's still made money, but it's not made as much money as they wanted it to.
Yeah.
And there's a good reason for that. And I mean, I don't know if it's true. These are all rumors coming out of Disney, but I kind of hope it's true, because if a company like Disney starts to wake up to that, that means that these other sort of economic behemoths like Google and Facebook and Microsoft are also going to wake up to that.
Yeah. Yep, it's an interesting climate. I mean, and a lot of this stuff, a lot of these companies we're talking about, and a lot of the issues we're talking about are coming out of the States. And everybody seems to just
I
get...
think they almost exclusively are.
Yeah, but I mean, look at the way that it affects action in Europe, in European countries, or in Canada, or whatever. Like, clearly America does have a stranglehold.
Oh, yeah. It's not really a slight against the United States. I think that in that sense, I mean, it sort of is, but in a way,
it speaks to like how powerful it is as a country.
The United States is a victim of its own success in that regard, because if it hadn't have been so successful, it wouldn't have all these companies that can have all this influence.
Exactly.
So I've got nothing. I've got nothing against. I've got nothing against the US for creating these
no, of course not. Good
organizations, because they're good for them.
Yeah.
But I think where these organizations have become polluted from their their purely capitalist goals is from the people within them.
Yeah.
To be honest, and I think they're the problem. I actually would prefer it if all of these entities were a purely capitalist entity. Yeah. I think I would prefer that at this stage, because at least then you could predict, that you wouldn't have to tiptoe around whatever ideology was the flavor of the month with the employees that worked there.
That's exactly what it is. It's like everybody's views right now are kind of like fall fashion or summer fashion. What's the hottest dress this summer? What's the hottest sweater this fall? That's what people's ideologies are like, It's like, this is what's trendy right now, therefore I'm going to wear the trendy sweater. Mm-hmm. What's the costume jewelry that's most popular? And then, like, everybody else is just playing this game of pretend, right? Like, you have Biden coming out, or you have Trump coming out again. They'll say all these extravagant things. They're making all these extravagant promises. We're going to beat this virus. We are going to come out and make sure that rapid testing is available, and you get your results the same day. They say all these things. And like, I was kind of watching the Biden thing, and I was recording it on Snapchat and kind of like doing all these Zooms and shit. And like, my question was, how? How are you going to do this? But nobody asked the important questions. Nobody asked how. They're just like, what? You're going to do this? Yeah, go libs. And it's just like, but don't you want to know how they're going to do this? Because they've been saying this, and like in one sentence, Biden will be like, this is not about votes. This is not about partisanship. This is about winning the hearts and souls of America. And I'm like, liar. You're lying. You're saying all these things. And is there nobody who's like super lib or super Republican that is like, but how? Because you've continuously disappointed us. You've made all these promises. None of these things have come into fruition. And now you're coming back and you're doubling down on the promises that you've made.
To be fair, the problem you're talking about there is why people distrust the press so much nowadays, because it's the press's job to ask those questions, and they don't.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they definitely don't. And it's very, very clear that like CNN is the news organization for the liberal wing of politics. Fox News has been the Republican wing of the news organization, and like those two are always clashing like this. And there's no way you can make me believe this isn't a partisan issue when you guys force fuck partisanship into our faces with the way that you, like, CNN has all these tickers and all this shit, and like every single fucking day for the last 4 years, Trump this, Trump that, Trump this, Trump that, Trump, and it's just crazy. You know what I mean? Like, there's got to be a space in between, which is really what we were talking about last time, where on either side, whatever side you're on, you can acknowledge that there's positives on this side and negatives, and you can realize there's positives and negatives on this side. And the way to make the decision is to figure out which one is more positive for you. Not, oh, this person is totally right or this person is totally right. But I think that speaks to like just how simply your average viewer looks at the world, very black and white. And like, again, they don't have the fucking time. And the whole country depends on people making the decision, and they're not equipped to make the decision. So this whole democratic process that's constantly touted as like the fucking benchmark of American politics is not functioning the way it's supposed to due to the lack of, I don't know, education or reasonableness that just exists within the population. Like, it's a
Yeah,
very
I mean, I
polarized
think
country.
the problem you've got is that really you've kind of got to tiptoe around the fact that when it comes to issues like this, you've got to tiptoe around talking about how uneducated and uninformed the vast majority of people, myself included,
Me too.
actually are about these things.
Mm-hmm.
Because people again want to take offense at something, so they'll take offense at that.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's all right to not know. It's all right to be uneducated about something. It's all right that this isn't your chosen specialist subject.
Yeah.
You can be stupid and ignorant about things. That's all right. Everybody is about certain things, about some things, about lots of things, about most things.
About most things.
Most people are ignorant about most things. You can only be good. That is absolutely okay.
It's like we think we have unlimited bandwidth. This is a bandwidth issue.
The problem is, though, the majority of people are conditioned not to acknowledge that about themselves, and that's the sort of sticking point.
It's just a Dunning-Kruger party, and I like it's interesting to watch, but at some point, just being privy to it, it's frustrating because it's like, well, what to do, really? What to do, right? We can't do anything. It is important for people to talk, but how do you even get people to talk honestly where they can, like, it's not about being right or wrong. Like, sometimes it's as simple as, like, just understanding the other side. So you can actually provide some sort of trade-off solution. And I say trade-off solution because there are no solutions. There's only trade-offs. And discuss things honestly to make the best decisions. But I just don't think, this speaks to the fact that we're just not evolved to this time, because decisions back in the day when we were developing brains and we were developing species, I guess, and we're still a developing species, but we've never been in a time like this where we had so much access to information and all this stuff, where like people had to make snap judgment and they had to make decisions in a very short amount of time. And that's obviously still existent now because people do that. There's not much mind changing, and that requires like a lot of deliberation. And as I said before, there's a bandwidth issue here. People don't have unlimited will or unlimited brain power where you can do something. If you're going to think or do an act, it's going to cost a certain amount of energy, and that energy can't be replenished. You've now just used that amount of energy for the day. So let's say you have like $20 of energy and you spent 15. You don't get that $15 back. You now just have 5 to spend. And that 5 is like allocated to, okay, well, I have to go home. I have to take care of my kids. I have to put them to bed, blah, 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 whatever the thing may be. And then it's just the cycle continues. And these large organizations are making money based off of people's psychological failure. Or I don't even know if we can call it a failure, really, but they're taking advantage of just a feature of psychology that they know they can take advantage of. It's how advertisements work.
A deficiency of psychology, you could say. And things you say they're taking advantage of it. Again, I wouldn't. I know what you mean by that, but I would be very cautious about ascribing sort of like a negative motive to that. Because it's not really. Because again,
it's neutral.
They're there to make money, and they're there to essentially they make money out of observing reality and exploiting facets of reality to make money. People are as they are, and companies are as they are as a result.
But see, exploiting sounds very much like take advantage of as well. But exploiting would probably be the the more apt term to use.
Yeah,
because that's what
I mean,
individuals do, right? We exploit our environment for personal gain, and it's not necessarily something that's a conscious thing. It's to increase your survivability. Everything runs on survival and reproduction. That's
really,
what it is.
the problem that we're having here, of course, is the sort of emotive quality that's given to certain words that are just used in language to describe things.
You're right.
that don't necessarily have an emotional attachment to them.
Right.
And I think we all sort of like tiptoe around saying words that might cause an emotional response that we don't want.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's more, when I talk to you, I'd prefer to be accurate. So if you're going to give me a word that makes more sense to use, that is less emotional, because exploit, again, it's just something that organisms do with their environment. It's not negative. It's not positive. It's just what it is. So it is important to make those distinctions.
It's like the word discriminate, isn't it?
Oh, exactly. Yeah. Profiling.
Like, let's be honest. Discrimination is a good thing.
I mean, we do that every day.
We have to.
We have
to.
to.
That's how you survive. Exactly.
Yeah.
Discrimination is necessary.
Yeah.
But yet the actual word itself has got some quite loaded connotations, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And that's
and that has nothing to do with the word discrimination and everything to do with whoever uses that word and wants to fucking postmodernize it and say, well, you never want to get into a situation where you're like, well, what do you mean by, which is the most annoying thing about Jordan Peterson that I still can't. Well, what do you mean by this? But you know what? In certain conversations with certain people, it's actually necessary to ask that question, because I'm like, how are you using that word? Like, because of the climate.
Do you know what that word means? I don't think you know what that word means.
Yeah, I don't think you know. Like when Trump was like
the word literally.
Oh, God.
Literally.
Or, Trump saying, I profoundly accept the nomination. I'm like, what do you mean profoundly accept? I'm still on this. Profoundly accept.
Yeah, what you could have done was just not say the word profoundly. Yeah. And it wouldn't have changed anything about what you were saying.
Exactly. But now I'm like, I'm like looking at this as just like
you could have said, I solemnly accept. I guess that would have made more sense, but even so, I wouldn't.
Or graciously, something that made more sense.
Graciously, yeah, exactly, yeah.
Something that made more sense than fucking profoundly.
Yeah, like to my ear, he talks like I don't know, maybe a 12-year-old that's like discovering new words.
That article was so funny, right? Because like the one of the speeches that were transcribed.
I think he does it on purpose, though.
Yeah.
I actually think he does do it on purpose.
Yeah, and then he uses keywords and he uses certain things because he's like eliciting emotional responses based on certain things, right? Like he doesn't have fully formed thoughts, really. The only part of the first like 15 minutes that made sense were like he thanked the First Lady Melania, and I was touched by that because I just think that's really cute. He's like, my number one, shout outs to Bae and shit. I'm like, oh, that's so cute. And then they zoom the camera onto her and she's just so beautiful. And you're like, okay, fine. You got me. You appealed to my emotional fucking center of my brain. I think that's cute. But then you go right back to it and he's like, I profoundly accept. And then he stops and you just hang there and I'm like, profoundly? What does this mean? I can't let go of it. It was such a weird combination of words. And he does this thing where like he'll say a few words, ... Start on a new thought, ... Have like 4 or 5 words again pertaining to that first sentence, ... And he's very slow when he talks and is very monotone. We will beat the virus. This virus has ravaged the world, or whatever the hell he said. And I'm just like, if you really listen to it and you're really watching him, I can see how you just get like hypnotized. Bum bum ba-da-da-dum ba-dum. Remember in Fantasia when Mickey Mouse was wearing the hat and he like was doing this and all the brooms started doing his task for him? Like, it's like that. That's what it reminds me of. But you gotta be really simple to listen to something like that and be like, USA, USA.
This is why, broadly speaking, in the upcoming election, I would say that I guess if you force me into a corner, I support Biden. But I don't really. I just support Trump less.
Yeah.
I think they're both really shit.
Yeah, they
Let's be
are.
clear about that. They're both pretty poor candidates. And it like I think I said to you the other day, like when Biden picked his fucking running mate of Kamala Harris, it's like they want to lose. They want to pick the weakest possible opponent or set of opponents to put against Donald Trump. Like with that, I mean, I don't like Donald Trump, but I'm still fairly borderline as to whether or not he's the better candidate.
Oh, I like Donald Trump as a character. As a
Yeah,
president, not so much.
I think with me it boils down to, it just boils down to this COVID response.
Oh my God.
That's entirely that's where I hang my entire opinion on. But with that said, I don't really care that much.
Mm-hmm.
It's not my country.
Yeah, I
it's
don't
not
care
my
that much.
problem. If Trump does win the next election, I'm not going to be one of those people saying that it's the hugest travesty in the world.
I mean,
it's fairly, it's relatively predictable.
Yeah.
If he does,
I mean, at
it's
this
possible he
point,
won't. I hope he doesn't, but I don't really mind. If he does, then he does. Then
at this point, whether Biden wins or whether Trump wins the race really doesn't matter. It's kind of a fucking mess, and it's gonna.
it's a gong show, but it is. You've got to admit a different flavor of gong show.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see, I guess. It is really up in the air. I remember if it was like before pre-COVID, I was like, Trump's definitely gonna win again. Like that's just my gut feeling that it's gonna be Trump again. But now, and like of course the news articles are pouring in of like, amidst COVID fear, Trump holds rally with a fucking huge crowd, and it's like, yes, that should certainly be a point of contention for people. Like, the reason the pandemic was handled so poorly to begin with is because it was not urged to the public to wear masks. It was not urged to the public. Like, Sam Harris just did this excellent episode on his podcast with Siddhartha Mukherjee. He's a virologist and he's an oncologist and he's an expert in all this shit. And he's like, the thing we know about masks is that for any respiratory disease, it does help curtail the spread of it. Because if it's spreading through your mouth or your nose, those things are covered for everybody, thereby decreasing the chances that anybody around who's wearing a mask can catch it.
It's just common sense, isn't
Exactly.
it? You don't need to be a virologist to be able to figure that out.
No.
If something's spreading from your mouth to other people's mouths and noses, then if you cover those things up, even if it's only like 50% covered up, because obviously there's gaps in fabric and stuff.
Of course.
You're still gonna, to a certain extent, restrict the ability of those things to spread. It just stands to reason. It's just obvious.
But then in America, it became an issue about my rights. Well, I mean, like, if you're a president, and also I'm pretty sure, like, imagine being next to Donald Trump and trying to be supportive of him, and then Fauci, who is like giving him information about like, masks. And he's like not urging the public to wear masks.
Well, what I don't get is, what about everybody else's right not to breathe
Not to
your
die?
mouth spit?
Or
I
get
don't
ill?
get it. Yeah, I don't.
Oh, we're such
I
a
don't-
Christian country, but you can't wear a mask to love thy neighbor? Like, I just don't get it, and this is coming from, like, I was telling you, it's my hypocrisy too, because I was being fairly irresponsible after I got so fucking ill, and when I was hopping on the bus and not wearing a mask and stuff, because nobody else was wearing one, so I was like, well, shit. And then I'm like, well, now I'm like fucking following everybody else just because, like, I don't want to wear it. It's not even inconvenient. It's not inconvenient to wear a mask for 15, 20 minutes in a day. It's just not.
It's just not. This is what I really don't understand. It's like, it isn't that bad.
No, it's not.
It's not inconvenient. It's not. It just. It's not particularly pleasant. It's not something that I thought. Well, I don't wake up in the morning and think, yes, I get to wear a mask today. But there's loads of things that I don't get that enthusiastic about when I wake up in the morning.
Right,
but I still
right.
do them because
You're supposed to.
like I don't know. You put clothes on to walk around, not because it's the most comfortable thing in the world, but because it's just what people do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a weird one, you know?
It's not a good analogy. There's good reasons to wear clothes, but
Yeah.
still,
Rape
you know what I mean.
being one of them. Yeah, I'm just not sure. And then, you know, this whole RNC thing, like, it is in very poor taste to have a huge
Interesting.
rally.
Do you think people would get raped more if nobody wore clothes?
Actually, if we always never wore clothes, always never, I don't think so. I think it would be.
No, I don't think so either. If everything else in society was, equal, I don't think it'd make that much difference, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, that's
Don't get me wrong.
how it used to be.
People would be colder. Yeah, no, there was a lot more rape. When everyone was naked, there was a lot more rape. Human beings were very
there
rapey.
also weren't laws, right? Like there wasn't any
exactly.
of that
But
stuff.
exactly, that's what I mean about everything else being equal.
Yeah.
I'm not really that sure. I think it might take people a decade or so to get used to it, and then.
I mean, also because like we just have this fucking. As much as we like to think that religion doesn't have a stronghold over civilization, it does, right? Because a lot of our ideas of purity and like covering up and like sacred shit comes from religion.
You see, I'm not convinced about that.
What do you mean?
I would like to know, and I don't know the answer to this. So it does look like that's the case. I agree, but are those concepts in religion just a reflection of the organism that made those ideas?
I mean, of course, everything is. Everything comes from the human mind.
So what I'm saying is, without religion isn't really necessary to express those.
No, it's not
beliefs or
necessary, but
ideas.
it certainly was an effective conduit.
It has been a mechanism by which that has been done.
Yes.
But I don't think that those ideas are necessarily because of religion.
No. Of course, no idea is necessarily because of religion. It's because there was some guy who was convinced of something and happened to convince many people of the same idea because of the mechanism used by.
And I guess ultimately things like sort of chastity and purity, that they're actually a survival mechanism because it's a way of staying healthier, kind of like wearing a mask, really.
Yeah. Preventing disease and all that kind of stuff.
So if you don't just fuck everything that moves, then you're less likely, not unlikely, because as with masks, it doesn't prevent it entirely, but you're less likely to catch some sort of awful disease. So, like I said, I think religion. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure that I'm not sure I'd like to give it. I wouldn't like to give it that win. I still think general humanity and somebody at some time actually thinking about it as
well, I think that's always
responsible.
going to be the base level of any argument, that it was some human that did it. But I'm saying in our modern language, it would probably be considered a religious thing because it's been so. Like, religion has diluted society with certain ideas. I'm not saying religion is responsible. Definitely people are responsible for.
I think religion has been used as the mechanism by which these things have spread. I don't think that's. Yeah, I think that's.
So what I did was, my initial explanation was very crude, and then we just added some nuance to that.
We did.
Look at us, nuance.
Fucking picky bastards.
No, it's good. It's good. It's good to have that kind of. You have to distinguish these things. You know what I mean? You have to distinguish these things.
I do think even people like myself, who are not religious people in any way, shape, or form, do often give religion too much credit for stuff that isn't necessarily warranted.
Right, I agree. I agree. That's kind of why
and
I'm not like,
that's merely to placate the fucking religious nut jobs we're all surrounded with.
yeah. Yeah, that's
And
it's crazy how much
religious nut jobs isn't fair, because I know plenty of religious people who are, religious people are often, not always by any means, but they're often, very good, perfectly nice, reasonable, well-adjusted people, and that's fine.
Yeah.
If you want to be religious and you're in always a good person, then you do you.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not gonna micromanage your fucking life. If it makes you happy and you're not making anybody else unhappy, then you do what you want to do.
Exactly.
You believe what you want to believe.
At the end of the day, that's all you can do. Like, you can't force fuck something out of someone's life that is the thing is, everybody, all of us as human beings, we look for meaning in things. Some people find that meaning in religion, and fine. Like, how can I get mad at you? Like, every day we're suffering here. We know we're going to die at the end. It's not a particularly pleasant thought, right?
I will say to these people, though, don't talk to me about it.
Yeah, I agree. I don't want to hear about that.
If you talk to me about it, then I'm going to disagree with you real hard.
Exactly.
And then we're going to fall out.
Yeah.
But if you don't want us to fall out, then don't talk about it. I won't bring it up to you. You don't bring it up to me. We'll have a perfectly good day.
Yeah,
together.
I'm not going to go up to you and be like, I would like to talk to you about atheism today, because that would be fucking obnoxious. You know what I mean?
As fuck.
Like, so fucking obnoxious. Who cares? Good for you. Your belief system is your belief system. The point is if there's a golden rule, like a mutually, tacitly agreed golden rule happening here, treat others as you want to be treated. Like, if you treat me like you need to force your shit on me,
don't be a cunt.
Exactly.
Just don't be a cunt.
It's not challenging. It's
really
not a
easy.
thing. It is.
Well, it's actually absolutely not that easy, because most people are in fact cunts.
Yeah, it's easy for me. I just like being nice.
Oh, you've got a fucking big opinion of yourself, haven't you?
I do. Because I want to be nice. Like, that's just how I'm compelled. I don't even want to particularly take or get credit for it. It's just that's just my psychological disposition. Like, it's never.
The thing, right? I'm gonna deconstruct that a bit for myself.
Sure.
I wouldn't say necessarily that I want to be nice, but I do want people to be nice to me, and for that to happen, I have to be nice.
Yeah.
And yeah, that does sound like it's a bit of a selfish thing, but guess what? We're selfish creatures, and that's just the way we act.
I'm fine with that. So
that's
what the golden rule is.
That doesn't make me any worse of a person in reality.
But that is what the golden rule is treat others as you want to be treated. The whole thing is revealed in front of you, that you want to be nice because you don't want people to treat you poorly. Therefore, you have to be the person who's not treating others poorly. So if you're being nice to somebody and they're treating you poorly, that's a great litmus test, first of all, for you to be like, oh, you're just a dickhead. Fuck you. I'm out. It's the easiest way to keep people in and out of your life that you want to keep there, because you can easily recognize their reaction to how you're treating them.
I rent the house that I live in, and I had a phone call from the in the UK, like rented properties have to have a gas and electrical safety inspection once a year, and somebody rang me to arrange that, and then the next day they rang me again. And they started going through all of their spiel, and I was like, "Hang on a minute, you do remember you called me yesterday? We've already arranged this." And she was like, "Oh, I'm really, really sorry. I'm really sorry," because you could tell. I bet you people are shitty about shit like that with people like that all the time. I was like, "It's all right, it's fine. I don't mind. You just." Come next Friday, like you said. You just, it wasn't coming up on you. Yeah, I get it. Shit happens. Don't worry about it. There's no need to apologize.
Customer service is an incredibly difficult job to do, especially when it comes to phone calls, especially when it's for services you already use, right? Like, those people get treated like shit if anybody has a little problem with the service and it's not going their way, look, any way that people can find to not pay for something or to get something more out of something, they will fucking pressure the customer service agent on the phone and be a total cunt to them because, oh, there's one little thing that went wrong that could easily be fixed. No, but you need to go balls deep and Karen out.
And this is slightly horrible, but in fairness, if you want to get your nasty rocks off, then doing it to people who try to sell you stuff is quite fun.
Yeah. And
I won't deny that I do that. Like,
I used to work in collections, okay, and that's where people
God.
owe money. And even if you start off that conversation nicely, they've seen their caller ID. They know where you're calling from. They pick up that phone and you're like, oh, I just wanted to talk to you about the loan that you took out that's 6 months overdue. This was a payday loan. You were supposed to pay this back on your next payday. Can we get an idea of when you are going to pay this back? I'm not fucking paying you. That's just like the... And it's like, well, I mean...
Sorry.
Okay, but you can't. Like, as a collector, you're not allowed to just take no for an answer. You have to bite your tongue and push down your biological response to this person who is incredibly threatened and now yelling at you, which, when someone's yelling at you, it gets your back up. You feel it inside where you're like, oh, fuck you. We're about to fight. But you have to push that down. You have to be able to manage that, and you have to be able to continue with the conversation calmly. And if you can do that for long enough, sometimes you can calm them down enough to let them know, excuse me, sir, this is a consequence of your cunty actions. Be responsible. That's basically the crux of the conversation there. You borrowed money from someone. It is not your money. You now have to pay it back. If you can't pay it back, just say, I can't pay you back. You can try and call me back in 2 weeks and see where I'm at. Okay, fine. But then when it goes to the wage department and the wages start getting garnished, well, that's a whole other story.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how much of an asshole you are then. No. Enjoy.
Yeah. That is kind of crazy though, like even if people do have money, and I've done this too, right? That's why my debt was just like going on for so long. It's like I had money. There's so many things I shouldn't have spent money on that I could have been chipping away at my debt with, but I fucking didn't because you forget about it or whatever. But I could never imagine somebody calling me and being like, you have not upheld your end of the bargain, and me being like, fuck you. Like, how fucking dare you ask me back for the money that I took from you? Like, it's just weird. Like, you're wrong. You're fucking wrong there. Like, you owe money. Either you can pay it or you can't pay it. Let the agent know. And what are they going to do if you can't pay it? And if they know you can't pay it, they're not going to sit there and fucking yell at you or anything. They're just going to be like,
it's okay. I don't know if you've ever had this in your driving career, but it's like when you're driving on the road and somebody else on the road does something which means you nearly crash, and it's their fault. It's fully their fault.
But they're so mad.
And they get mad at you. It's like, what?
Oh, man. I remember one time there was a guy behind me, and I had stopped because traffic was really heavy. Now, he was texting, right? So I just rolled my car slightly forward because traffic was moving a little bit. Now, he let his foot off the gas, but he was texting. What did he do? He tapped the back of my car. I was like, okay, no big deal. Like, it was just a tap. Nothing that I would lose my shit over. No big deal. We can deal with this properly. If we have a chat, we can just decide to let it go. No. This fucking idiot comes out of his car and starts what the fucking at me and then calls the cops. And then the fire department rolls up and the cops roll up because of what, a tap? The fireman was so displeased because I told him what happened and he's like, it costs like so much money to call us out.
I don't know what the rules are in Canada, but in the UK, automatically, that's the person who was behind's fault.
Yes.
Like, automatically.
Here too.
Like,
but I think he was unhappy.
Even if the person in front had jammed on the brakes, still the person behind's fault.
Yeah. Yes. Rear-ending is always the rear-ender's fault. But he was driving a Mercedes, and I guess he was upset that he tapped my car, and it was my fault because I moved ahead with traffic a little bit and he was fucking texting. And I told the fireman that. I'm like, I'm sorry, but he was texting on his phone. I looked at my rear view mirror the moment the back of my car got tapped, and he was texting. And then he's like, I can't believe we got called out for this. Like, there could be an actual emergency that we need to go to, but our resources are not allocated to this issue that is not a fucking big deal. And I was like, I wouldn't fucking call the cops for that. I mean, I could have just dealt with it with him. I could have just been like, hey, do we want to call ICBC and get them involved? Or are we just going to shake hands and walk away from this? Like, what would you like to do?
Oh, was there any actual damage done?
No. He was like, oh, my neck. And I was like, you rear-ended me, bro. Like, what the fuck?
Your neck has. It's your fault, you moron.
Old fat Indian dude. Like, these Indian people here are known to commit insurance fraud. Like, it's just a very well-known thing that they do. Especially if they have people...
Was that what he was trying to do then?
Probably.
Get an insurance claim off you? I see.
Which, by the way, obviously you don't understand the rules of the road because you rear-ended me.
Yeah.
In gridlock traffic. Like
the thing is, I don't know how it works. I'm guessing it works. So if you'd have then gone home that night and then said your neck hurt, which quite often is the way whiplash and things like that work, then you can still claim off him. You don't have to do it there and then. You'd have to even get mad at him.
I think he was jumping on it, like, oh, she fucking braked and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, so?
Yeah, that's why
you're supposed to do.
That's why you have these red lights at the back of the car to say that it's stopping, and you're meant to be not too close and paying attention so that you see those lights and stop.
Yep. You know, it's just wild. People don't understand the rules of the road, so I'm not entirely sure how to deal with that. But if I did something and I fucked up in my vehicle, which I've certainly done before, I'm not gonna like freak out. You know, I've tapped the back of someone's car before, and as soon as I get out, I'm like, are you okay? Would you like to deal with this through ICBC, or are we good? Like, what do you want to do? Because, you know, sometimes people don't want to pay the deductible, or they can't, or whatever the case may be. And it's like, give them the option. Take their phone number. If they want to talk to you, they'll talk to you, and that's it. There's no big deal. But why create aggro where it's not necessary? Usually it's because people just want to try
especially if it's your fault.
Right, exactly. But I think that's why you freaked out.
I've done it before too, quite a few times, where it's clearly been my fault.
Yeah.
I was the party at fault here, and if that's been the case, I've instantly said that.
No.
In fact, I think I've only ever had one accident where it wasn't my fault. I've
never gotten into a major accident. I think I'm very lucky.
Yeah, I just had that woman pull out and hit me on that roundabout once.
That almost happened to us yesterday. So my boss and I were going to Starbucks, and this guy, so we're driving down out through the parking lot to leave, and this guy in his black Tesla with all tinted windows, which, by the way, is illegal. You're not allowed to have all your windows tinted like that. He just pulls out, doesn't even look back, doesn't check, no shoulder check, nothing. Pulls out, and my boss is so lucky he saw that. So he fucking hit the brake, and I was like, what the fuck? Because I saw this guy just pull out, and then he just zipped away, and it's like, that could have been a huge collision in the parking lot because of just the speed that he was going at, backing out of a spot. He was so unaware. And that's the kind of shit that gets people into accidents, right? Like, I guess he was maybe depending on the fact that his Tesla would break if there was something coming in the way, because it wasn't, I think it was one of the higher end models, the S or whatever.
If it's newish, then they all do it.
Oh, well, yeah, it was pretty new. So I was just like, oh, well, okay then. He just drove away like nothing happened. I don't know, man. People they don't pay attention when they drive. It's kind of scary. That's kind of why I prefer not to drive. I have my license and stuff, and I've considered getting a car, but I'm like, I don't know if I particularly want to. I like walking and stuff, and like, if I get hit in a bus, the worst that's going to happen is maybe it'll roll over, and I can just hold on to a bar and not get as hurt.
Yeah. I don't know, if you get hit in a bus hard enough for the bus to roll over, then it might hurt more than that.
Perhaps. I don't
Maybe.
know.
I don't know.
In my
But
mind,
a
it
bus is
plays.
also unlikely to roll over, though. I mean,
In my
Jesus.
mind, it just plays out ideally like that, right? Like it's fucking very action movie style. Oh, the bus is gonna roll over. That's like the worst thing that could happen if I get into an accident in the bus, right? How would I deal with that? Well, I just grab onto a bar and hope that I don't get banged up enough where like my spine breaks or some insane shit happens. Like,
Fucking spine breaks.
I don't
Jesus
know.
Christ.
That's like the worst thing that could happen while a vehicle is rolling around, I would imagine. Or, falling on somebody else or falling on a baby. Baby falling on me. I don't know.
I
A
don't know.
stroller falling on me.
Social distancing sounds like a big problem there.
There's no social distancing in buses. And there hasn't been. And that's what was weird. So for a month, for about a month, there was social distancing. And what it was is everybody sitting a seat away, which, by the way, not 2 meters, not 6 feet. If you were actually social distancing, there would only be about 10 people on a bus. Well, there are about 20. The capacity is about 40. So it wasn't happening to begin with, right? And then they really started hitting the social distancing hard. Or they started saying, like, we're not going to allow more than this many people on the bus. Still on social distancing, not enforcing the mask thing. And some bus drivers didn't give a fuck because they have a plexiglass that separates them from all the other passengers, right? So they're totally safe. And you'd get on the bus and it's like, well, okay, this isn't social distancing, so should I not be as concerned? Which I wasn't, because I wasn't wearing a mask at the time. And again, some bus drivers were not following the rules and just fucking letting everybody on. Now, even the LED signs on the bus say the route of the bus number, the route, and masks mandatory. They're not letting people on the bus if they're not wearing a mask. However, some bus drivers do. So the inconsistency is quite a problem.
I don't know if I really blame bus drivers for that, to be honest. It's the same here. And, like, if I was a fucking bus driver, I don't know if I could be bothered with the fucking grief that I would likely get from people.
Yeah, they eat a lot of shit, Like, I'm sorry, I can't let you on. Like, there's one woman, I take her bus every morning because of the time it is during my shift, obviously. And she actually makes sure she follows the rules. If you're not wearing a mask, she's not going to let you on. If it's past the capacity, she's not going to let you on, which good on her. That's exactly how it's supposed to be. But then she eats a lot of shit, which is why I imagine bus drivers don't want to enforce anything particularly. And it's like, well, if 40 people on the bus are wearing masks, then if this fucking idiot wants to come on the bus and not wear a mask, fine. Right? That's their prerogative. Let them on the bus. People got to go to work, whatever. I don't want to deal with the bullshit of people yelling, because people do yell at bus drivers. Like, it's very unfortunate that some people just can't adapt to the way things are. And it's as simple as, dude, you can get a mask from Circle K right there. That's like $1. A pack of 5 is like $3.99 or something. It's not much. Just get it.
And that's Canadian dollars as well, so that's like 22p.
Yeah, it's cheap. It's reasonable. Like, you can't, and like, I'm lucky I can get them from work, because obviously they're sending them out. Technicians can't go into homes without wearing masks and booties and gloves and all that kind of stuff. It's definitely a big cost for businesses who have to do it,
I bet you a tenner this guy that comes to look at my boiler next Friday isn't wearing a fucking mask.
So you're going to wear a mask though, right?
No, he's coming into my house.
Well, what if he has something?
A mask probably isn't going to help. That's the thing with masks. They don't really help. They really don't help that much.
Yeah, but it decreases the chances. That's all you can hope for, right? I mean, you have facial hair too. You're not even supposed to wear a mask with facial hair.
I'd be as well just not being in the same room as him.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, he could just come and do his thing and leave.
He's still going to be coming in and touching things, isn't he? So, I mean,
It is very strange to see how, restaurants and stuff have adapted. Again, like the thing that I say again and again is that everybody's participating in the theater of it, you know? Even if you go to a restaurant, they'll put your meal down, and you bet your ass they're not going back there and sanitizing or washing their hands before they go to the next table to give them their meal. Like, it's just, I don't think it's happening. I was kind of watching.
The thing is, I would make the argument that even participating in the theatre of it, as you put it, is still better than not doing anything at all.
No. I agree there. But it is theater when you're not using the gear properly and when you're not doing those things properly to prevent what we're actually trying to prevent. Right? I mean, again,
and again, I don't know about where you are, obviously, but that's not really what's the people in restaurants, especially, have been fairly, as I understand it, been fairly good about that sort of thing.
Yeah, they've been trying, and that's all you can really ask for, you know. They're wearing their masks.
I mean, I never liked going to those places anyway, so it doesn't make a lot of difference to me.
See, like, that seems to be a thing that everybody likes to do. Hey, is everybody free this weekend? Let's go out to eat. It's like super American. Oh my God. We are getting so many American franchise restaurants here now too. And I was talking to Michael yesterday and I was like, you know what sucks is Canada is kind of becoming Americanized with their food. Like, there used to be a couple of really great restaurants here that were kind of ma and pa owned, and they weren't these big franchises, and now Popeye's chicken is popping all over the place, and I'm like, man, I don't like that. Like, the reason I like Canada is because it's not like America, you know, with the food stuff. It's not like such a predominant force in the culture to eat all the time. And now, because these things are slowly crawling across the border into Canada, it's just, I feel like it's just going to make people more American. And I don't want that. If you want to go to America and eat, it's 20 minutes that way. Go to America.
I think you're always going to be all right as long as your McDonald's serves poutine, because that's the most Canadian thing I've ever fucking had.
I didn't know that was a Canadian thing, actually.
That is just a Canadian thing.
It is.
Apparently, McDonald's poutine isn't bad.
I've heard.
As poutine goes. This is what I've heard.
It's fucking 900 calories, but hey, like, you do you, boo.
Yeah, I was going to say it's cheese curds and fucking fries, isn't it?
And gravy.
And gravy, yeah, I forgot
and
about the gravy.
People will substitute their regular fries for poutine. So they're eating 1,000-calorie burger with a 900-calorie fucking side.
Like all their calories for one day, just like one meal.
And that's not the only meal they're eating.
No, obviously not.
So it's like that. Why do you think obesity is a problem in the States? Is because they have those options. By the way, like, their meals are...
Can I get poutine in the States?
I think you can at New York Fries. Like, there's certain places that have...
Oh, no, sorry, not McDonald's, I mean, obviously.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, you can? You can't get poutine in the States? That's weird. That is kind of weird. I would think that McDonald's is across the board.
It's literally a Canadian thing.
No, I know that. But, I mean, New York Fries will probably have it. I don't even know if New York Fries is actually an American thing. I would assume so because it's New York Fries, but at the same time, I can't say.
Is that somewhere in New York?
No, we have them here too.
I'm confused.
It's just called New York Fries. That's the...
So confused at this stage.
That's the franchise. The franchise is New York Fries.
We don't have those.
Well, duh. You don't even have poutine there, do you? You were checking at your McDonald's and they don't have it.
Well, we definitely don't have it at McDonald's, but I would can't even buy cheese curds here, in a supermarket. Oh yeah, it's not a thing.
That's interesting.
You can get it off specialist websites. It's not like it's completely unavailable, but no, poutine is not a thing that's easily accessible in the UK at all.
Oh, well, maybe that's for the better.
Most people don't even know what it is.
Maybe that's for the better.
I don't know. I want to try it.
Yeah, I can see that. I've never been a particularly big fan of poutine myself. I don't even know
what cheese curds are. I mean, I know what they are, but I've never seen them.
I mean, honestly, if you just imagine like a tiny little cube of cheddar or mozzarella put in something hot, what happens is it gets kind of melty, you know? And then you can pick it up and it's all stringy and warm and melty, and that's pretty much what it is. I don't know what cheese they use. Let's Google that. You're supposed to be the one with the cheese facts, by the way.
I did look it up the other day. It was some sort of, I think it's some sort of cheddar. The one I found was. I don't fucking know.
Answering the important questions of our day.
Mm-hmm.
White cheddar cheese curds. So honestly, you could just do this at home.
It's a racist option, I see.
So basically, if you just put small cubes of white cheddar cheese in warm gravy, you'll get the exact same effect. Because it's just clumps of cheese in the gravy. The gravy's warm. It kind of softens the cheese, and then...
Why? Hang on then. What are cheese curds then? Because I thought they were like a byproduct of cheese.
Deep fried fries, poutine gravy, and white cheddar cheese curds. What is it? Okay, let's see. What is a cheese curd? Milk is pasteurized and cooked until the whey separates from the curd. Then the curd is put into a mold and pressed to create... Come on, lady. Pressed to create a wheel or block of cheese. Any curd...
Okay, so the curd becomes the cheese.
Yeah. Any curd that doesn't make it into the mold are cheese curds, the byproduct of cheese making, and are a snack unto themselves.
So it's just cheese.
Yeah.
So Canadians like we call that fucking cheesy chips here, and yes, you can get that here.
Okay, well, it has to sound fancier, I guess, than it is, because it does trick people.
Okay, well, I'm glad we had this conversation and worked this out.
Oh man,
I'm a bit disappointed, to be honest.
Isn't it
so basically,
crazy?
Curds are unshaped cheese, then basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now they look like clumps of cheese. But I mean, like I said, you could get the same effect just cutting tiny little cubes of cheese, putting them in some warm liquid, and then the effect will be the same as you get from cheese curds.
Right.
It'll be cheesy, melty shit.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if this subject is quite as important as the the race protests in America, but
I think right
I'm
now
actually personally more interested in it. So
I you know what? I would really love for you to watch the I mean, you don't have to. But the Biden speech at the DNC and Trump's is so long though. I've only got through 20 minutes and I'm like, oh my god, what am I gonna do? Because I do want to watch it. I do. It's just interesting.
I don't feel like I need to.
No, just watch the highlights.
I don't even know if I'm inclined to do that. The thing is with the American election, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Mm-hmm. But the kind of the lead up to it, I'm kind of uninterested in. I don't really want to get.
I'm numb to it.
Exactly. This is it. I don't want to get too bogged down in like who I support or whatever. I saw one guy on Facebook who I know, one friend had said, an English guy who lives in England.
Yes.
Said I've just been going through my Facebook, deleting any Trump supporters.
Why do you even need to mention that? Hi, Carter Cole.
Hi, Carter.
I think it's so weird to have to, like, if whoever, there was like a thing to do on Facebook where it's like, if I don't like you, you're going to know because I'm going to unfriend you on social media. And it's like, you posted the status so that you could let people know, like, what is the fucking, just shut up and fucking delete people you don't like and move on. Why does everybody need to know?
Why do you have to announce it first? It's like,
I'm a strong, independent person and I don't need your follow.
Like you want fucking virtue points for not liking Trump. Like, all right. Like,
that's what 2016 election was.
I know and like people who support Trump.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think it makes them a bad person. I don't even think it makes them a stupid person.
Yeah.
I don't
care.
I just don't care. I get it. I get why people support the guy.
Yeah.
I understand.
Me too.
I quite understand. I don't agree.
Yeah.
Like with the religion thing. I can be friends with a religious person. I don't agree.
Yeah, exactly.
With that particular facet of their belief system, but it doesn't stop me being friends with them.
Kris, you better relax, okay? This is too mature right now. You are far too mature. Look, man, bullshit and haven't you noticed this pattern of like the more you pretend or the more you play into sides, the more it increases your chances to make money or friends? Fake friends are a fucking dime a dozen. Fake people are a dime a dozen.
Yeah, Tim Pool loves Trump now. Yeah, if you say that to him, he'll say, no, I don't. It's like, yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. All you do is criticize the Democrats. You are pro-Trump. You are. Sorry.
I don't know how you can
No,
criticize
I'm not
one
sorry.
and not the
If
other.
you're pro-Trump, then you're pro-Trump. Then fine.
Yeah,
I
cool.
understand not wanting Joe Biden to win the election. That's the thing. I get it.
I understand not wanting Joe Biden to win too. You know, it's like you
I
can
get it.
understand from either side.
I get nah. I don't want either of them to win, to be honest. But one of them's gonna.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very strange to see people who are not American like really have an emotional reaction to this thing. I get it, and like I get it to a degree where yes, American politics affects Canadian shit a little bit, but it's not nearly, and I shouldn't even need to say this, not nearly as much as what happens in that fucking country. Like, it's so weird that Canadians have such a fucking emotional reaction to Trump winning or whatever it is. It's like, but he's not your president. Like when people were protesting in 2016 when he won here at Trump Tower, and they're like, he's not my president. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, he isn't. You're right.
you at least you're right about that, I guess, but you're going about it all wrong. Like, what are 15 of you standing in front of Trump Tower getting angry gonna do? Like, what's the goal? What's the intent here? It's very difficult to figure out just because it's so nonsensical. It is an incredibly divisive issue too. It shouldn't be, but it really is. And the partisan forces are strong in America. As much as people are like, oh, we're all Americans. I'm like, you can say that as much as you want and pay lip service to the slogan, but in your action, that is certainly not how you're behaving. You don't fucking care about America. You care that your side wins. Because you got tricked into thinking that your side winning is for America.
Yeah, it's really, really weird.
He's like, I'm a one-issue voter now. It's a safety and security for me. Trudeau got another corruption complaint, right? I mean, this is just a way of politics. That's just what's going to happen.
I mean, he's a politician. What do you expect?
Yeah. Is it really that surprising? It's just so unsurprising. Any of the shit you hear about these people acting a certain way or saying stupid shit, it's just like, yeah. Like, I'm at a point where I'm just watching and commenting because it's just a fun thing to do.
Trudeau got another corruption complaint, right? Okay, maybe he did. He's been Prime Minister of Canada for like fucking 8 years or something, hasn't he, at this stage?
Has it really been that long?
Oh, 7, 6 years?
Shit, I don't
7.
know.
I'm fucking. You should know you voted for him.
Was that fucking 7 years ago? Because like,
I don't know. I might be just chucking numbers.
We gotta check because the only reason I'm curious now is because holy crap, has it been 7 years? That means I've known you for quite a long time.
I'm looking at the completely wrong information.
His mom got a bunch of money or something, and there was some crazy interview. I have no idea what you're talking about, Carter. But it could be a thing.
No, tooth and that. I'm completely wrong. It's only been 5 years.
Okay. There you go. That makes more sense. But I voted Liberal. Yes, that does in turn mean that I voted for him. He won by a landslide, though. Nobody wanted Stephen Harper at all. I don't think it was nobody wanted Conservatives. I think nobody wanted Stephen Harper in particular. But the country was doing fiscally very well at the time.
And I think the USA is the same. It's not like nobody wants a Republican president. I just think that there might be a chance that people don't want Trump anymore. But there's also a chance that they do. And if they do, if the democratic process of America decides that Donald Trump is the rightful president of America, then as a resident of the world and not a fucking American citizen at all, then that's that, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and it's not I don't
Which
think
is exactly how I felt about the last election. It's like, wouldn't have been my choice, but all right.
Yeah.
That's what they elected him.
And it boils down to the college, doesn't it? The voting, what the fuck was it?
The Electoral College.
Electoral College.
Well, that was how Trump won, yeah. Because Hillary Clinton won the popular vote. I'm sure we're all sick of hearing that fucking phrase. So more people voted for Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
More people who voted for Hillary Clinton.
Right.
But because of the way that isn't the the way that it's split up in America, and I'm probably going to butcher this, and Carter in the chat can probably correct me, but basically it's so that big states like California and Texas don't just between them decide the entire electoral result. So more people overall can vote for a certain candidate, but it's who wins it's like what sort of groups in the states win.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really get it, but basically it's not down to the we've got a similar system here, our first past the post system, and I think you have in Canada too.
Hey, I was reading something about Boris Johnson stepping down because he's been having a lot of illness issues, because he got hit with COVID, didn't he? And he was rather ill.
I only saw that in one very tabloidy newspaper, and nowhere else has said it. So
I saw it on Reddit. So I mean, the reason I'm asking you is because
I'm going to assume not true, but maybe, but I doubt it. Like Boris Johnson, he got hit with COVID hard, and fair play to the guy. He actually says that it affected him as badly as it did because he was fat. He actually used the word "because I'm a fatty." He said that.
I love Boris Johnson. He's rad.
He's hired a celebrity personal trainer to get him to lose weight, and he's lost a lot of weight in like the space of a month.
Good for him. That's the way to be.
That to me doesn't paint the picture of somebody who's having health problems.
Well, he's certainly doing the right thing now, isn't he? He's trying to change the way that he's living because he knows I love how he actually used the word fatty. That's great. See, Boris Johnson he's not the hero we deserve. He's the hero we need. Like from the get-go, I don't care. People in the UK had a problem with him and were like, fuck him, blah, 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 blah. But it's like, I still think he handled the initial part of this whole thing the best. He really did. Like, he just did. He came out. He gave a great speech. It was very measured. He's very honest. I am an even bigger fan now that he said I was a fatty. Great, good for you. At least you can deal with that.
I like, to be honest, I do quite like the guy as a person.
Yeah.
I think that there probably are criticisms,
of course,
the way that the government handled this COVID thing that are valid.
Yeah.
I don't think we're quite at the point where really we should be drawing conclusions for anybody for any of that.
Oh, right.
But I mean, it wasn't even with the worst will in the world, it wasn't handled as badly as, say, what country am I thinking of? It's a big one with lots of people. Really near Canada.
Absolutely amazing that he comes out and he says we're gonna beat COVID. It's such a weird thing that both him and Biden were like, we're gonna beat COVID, and I'm like, bro, how? You can't even get your population under control enough. Like, Sam Harris said this during Can We Pull Back from the Brink, that like there are medical professionals.
We're gonna beat COVID. Yes, you are. Obviously, at some point, this isn't gonna go on forever. I mean, obviously.
However,
how do you think pandemics work, you moron?
But the thing is that you can't, if you can't tell your citizens to be responsible and wear masks and stuff, which is something that Sam Harris said during that Can We Pull Back from the Brink podcast, is like there are open letters signed by medical professionals saying that if you're peacefully protesting, if you're Black Lives Matter, you don't have to wear masks. Medical professionals are saying this stuff. Like, you're getting conflicting information where the body of government should just straight up say, everybody just wear masks for the safety of everybody. Everybody wear masks and be responsible. You know what I mean? If
Yeah,
you're going to go out, wear a goddamn mask.
this is what I don't get about the mask thing. It's like, all right, maybe they're completely ineffective, maybe,
Doesn't
but
matter.
I don't think they are, because just fucking common sense, really. I mean, you're putting some sort of barrier in front of your face, which
Yeah.
stops stuff going out and it stops stuff coming in to an extent. Just stands to reason it will. So it's going to be of some use. You know, even if you completely ignore countries like South Korea that are pretty convinced it is of quite a lot of use.
I mean, they did great, right? They were very quick to jump on like testing and masks and social distancing and everything. And look how well they did.
The thing is, they were already wearing masks. They already had tests that could test for this. They did have something of a head start. Because South Korea got hit by SARS, whereas which was a coronavirus. So they already had. This was like 10 years ago, however long ago it was. Yeah. So they already had a certain level of infrastructure and knowledge for dealing with things like this. Which is a good thing, which everybody should have done. Everybody should have learned that lesson.
Of course, yeah.
But most other countries are like, well, it couldn't happen to us.
You know, the other thing that Siddhartha Mukherjee said that was really scary was that, you know, we got hit with this pandemic out of nowhere. There's no saying that another pandemic couldn't hit us while we are in the midst of this pandemic. It's a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, sure, there's also no saying that an asteroid couldn't hit the planet.
Right.
Could happen.
But the reason I think it's a bigger deal is because, you know, in a lot of places people still aren't taking it as seriously, and if another one comes and people's like immune response is weakened both at like a societal and like a immune level, it could have even worse effects, even more catastrophic than this one.
See what Kat is saying there. That's like a very American view of it. It's like, oh, we've got the Bill of Rights and blah blah blah. So you can't compel people to do stuff. So fair enough. But say here, where actually the government can compel you to do stuff if they want, that isn't how they've framed any of it.
Yeah.
They've framed it as a request.
Yeah, exactly.
But
you have to remember, Carter's a libertarian, so
no. I'm not. I'm just saying that's kind of that's the difference here, where they can compel you if they really wanted to.
Yeah. They're
choosing not to, and it's to do with the way that it's been expressed and it's been received by the people in America.
Yeah.
That's the problem, because really nobody's telling you have to do these things, but what people are telling you is that you should do these things. But people are taking that as an edict, you know, to actually do something. Yeah. Like, well, no. Obviously, you can do what you want to do. But what we're saying is that if you want this to go as well as it can go, then you should do these things.
Right.
But people aren't seeing it like that. They're seeing it as an order. It's not an order. It's not an order here. Even though it is an order here, they're not. It's not an enforced order in almost any case whatsoever. People are doing it because whether they like it or not, they know that they're not being told to do this, you know, for authoritarian reasons.
Yeah.
Because what sort of fucking stupid authoritarian regime could you possibly have that would compel people to wear masks?
Yeah.
It's fucking stupid.
Social shaming is the way to. Unfortunately, it shouldn't have to be, right? You would think that people, again, like, the thing that strikes me a lot is just this idea that America always wants to be like, we're a Christian country, we care about families, we care about this, we care about that. But it's like, yeah, but none of your actions substantiate the things that you claim to value. If you are a Christian nation, and if you do fucking care about your neighbor and shit, dude, you wear a mask. You wear a mask because you care about your neighbor, not, like, less than I mean, you wear a mask to care about your neighbor more than like fucking catching it. That's the entire point, and that's the way it should be framed. Is we just want to give a fuck about the people that we can possibly infect, because this thing lays dormant, or it lays in people's body and has no symptoms, and you might pass it on to some poor old person that had like 5-10 years left that is going to die a lot sooner now, because it's about your rights now.
I think what Carter says is right there, and that sort of exemplifies the problem with the Trump administration.
Yeah.
Is
again
that
the hypocrisy is so blatant.
the administration hasn't had any idea how to convince the population to do the right thing in the right amount of numbers, which is why you've seen the amount of problems.
But you're not going to convince people to wear a mask when you're holding fucking rallies when we're about to get a second wave.
That's exactly what I mean.
Yeah.
They're completely inept in that regard.
Yeah.
And they don't even, they're so bad, they don't even know that is being inept. They don't get it. They just don't get what they're doing wrong.
I mean, even the DNC didn't have a fucking crowd. Come on. That's probably why Biden's speech was fucking 25 minutes and Trump's was 1 hour and 25, because they have to pause and pan back and look at the crowd screaming USA, which over time takes up a lot of fucking time. He probably didn't talk for that entire time. It's all the pageantry of it. Again, it's WWE. Like, Trump is the WWE president.
This is what I don't get about America. America is arguably sort of the greatest modern country in the world.
Is it?
I don't think. Well, arguably.
Based on what metric?
You can make that argument. Well, GDP, the technology it pushes out, there's a lot of, America's cool.
Yeah. I agree.
In lots of ways. But the people in America seem to have kind of small man syndrome, where they want to express how awesome America is all the time. And it's like, dude, guys, the rest of the world gets it.
Yeah, we got it.
We get it. We saw it in World War II. America's awesome.
Yeah.
We get it. You don't need to chant USA, USA. You don't need to.
Yeah.
We get it. Everybody in America gets it.
Yeah.
We all get it. The fact that you're feeling the need to broadcast it so much and so often.
It seems compensatory, really.
It does. It does.
Yes.
And it makes me wonder, is America really not that great? And you kind of know it deep down. I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying I think that, because I don't actually think that. But that's the way the people in America, I often see them acting. Not all of them, obviously.
But think
often.
about it as a person. If a person was always like, you know what? I'm super awesome. I'm actually super awesome. Actually, I'm super awesome. Actually, I'm like really cool. Actually, I'm super awesome. If someone's doing that all the time, aren't you suspicious of that person? Like,
oh, instantly.
Why do you constantly need to tell me you're amazing? Why do you constantly need to say you're alpha? Why do you constantly need to say you're the best? Like, who are you trying to trick here? I think you're trying to trick yourself, because I can see what's happening to you.
The thing is, it just seems so strange to me that it's like the biggest, strongest, most athletic person in the football team boasting about how big, strong, and athletic they are, when it's pretty fucking obvious that they are. But you don't need to say it. We can see how you perform on the field. You're good.
But
You're fucking good.
Chris, it's the trick of advertising, though, right? Like, this is why advertisement is so effective. And propaganda is very effective for this reason, too. If you repeat the same messages again and again and again, if somebody doesn't want to look further into that, nor do they have the time or whatever, they're just going to accept that surface level comment because it's repeated so much. It really doesn't take much to trick a human mind into believing something is a certain way. All you need to do is repeat the messages again and again. Like, this is why Goebbels and Hitler were so effective during the Second World War, is because of the things they constantly repeated to the public. And that emotionally appeals, because it's like, I want to be awesome. Let me get in on this awesome energy. Yeah, America is awesome, So it creates this kind of vacuum that people get sucked into.
The thing is, I mean, I'm sure that, I mean, maybe Canada's similar, but it's like Yeah, America is awesome. Let's just move on in the conversation.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, yes, you're awesome. Great, cool.
I mean, how many times have I said I love going to the States? I just like being there. It's fucking rad. Like, I used to go there since I was young, and it is a great place. The people are great. Like, it's whatever. But I mean, that's it. I don't. Canada's cool too.
Yeah.
Canada has its positives, but I don't need to sit here and constantly be like, well,
like I said, I've never been to either, but if I was given the choice between the two, I would way rather go to Canada.
Yeah.
Like, it's so much higher up my bucket list than the United States.
Yeah.
Hang on, let me just think qualified to say. I would say every English-speaking country in the world is above the United States in my personal bucket list of places to go. All of them.
Mm-hmm.
I have got the least interesting, even though the United States is awesome, I have the least interest in going there.
Yeah.
And maybe that says something about me. That, I would love to go to Canada. I would love to go to Australia. I'd love to go to New Zealand.
Oh yeah.
Exactly. And I would love to go to America. I would. America's in the list.
Yeah.
It's near the top of the list, but it's still below all those other countries.
Yeah.
Like, the stuff in America, like, I'd love to see the Grand Canyon. Apparently
amazing.
It's awesome. Have you seen it?
There's a giant hole in the ground.
Well, yeah,
no, I actually did
you're
not.
You're not really selling it to me now.
I mean, I didn't. I'm sure it's epic going there. I didn't.
There's big fucking trees in California.
What big fucking trees? The ones that are burning?
Oh God.
The ones that are burning?
I'm guessing they're burning now, but they have the biggest trees in the world, don't they? The redwoods.
Oh, I did not know that.
That's right. That's like nearish you.
All I know about California is the beaches because, oh my God, of course I do.
Yeah. I'm not interested in the beaches, funnily enough. What else is in America? I'm sure there's something in Texas. I'm sure Carter Cole can tell me something in Texas.
So Utah is a beautiful place. Colorado.
Utah. I watch a YouTuber, a car YouTuber who lives in Utah, and fuck me, that state just looks amazing.
Gorgeous.
Just looks amazing. It really does.
Colorado is absolutely beautiful too. The mountains and everything. What else is nice? I liked Arizona. It was wonderful. I went to Sedona. Sedona is a very beautiful place. We ended up going there.
Where the fuck is that?
I think it's a few hours away from Phoenix.
You're gonna have to help me out here.
I mean, just Google it and look at the pictures, and you'll be like, "Oh,
give me a state."
It's in Arizona.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like a few hours away from Phoenix. Beautiful place. Arizona is just a really nice place. I like the heat there because it's incredibly dry. So 40 degrees Celsius doesn't hit you the same as it does here in BC because of all the humidity and moisture being near the water.
I wouldn't mind seeing New York. Well, theoretically.
And not right now.
Not right now. Oh God, none of these places right now. None of them right now. I don't want to go to. I don't want to go to North California right now.
No.
Holy shit, no. I mean, it's all on fire for a start. I don't know if that's true, but a lot of it's on fire.
Is CaliforniaOnFire.com? I made Michael check that, and it just says yes.
Just says yes. But there's also whereisCaliforniaOnFire.com.
Yeah. Oh, is there?
Yes, there is.
So, nuance. Nuance. I like it. Where else is nice? Florida's nice. Miami's nice.
Yeah, I was going to say, even Florida. It's
beautiful. Disney World is there. I mean, I went there when I was young. So
absolutely zero interest in that.
I was 6. Leave me alone, okay? It was fun.
Well, yeah, all right then. For 6-year-olds, I can see that. But
it's kind of a weird thing to me. Can you just like help me with this judgment? If you're an adult and going to Disney World is a thing for you and you get all excited about it, something's weird about that. I don't know. I don't know.
I know some adults who like that.
I don't know why. I think it's weird.
I'm more interested. I want to go to TY. I want to go to Florida. Right. I want to see the launch pads that the rockets fly off.
Oh yeah, you know what? I've been to the Space Museum in Florida and it was fucking awesome. I stood next to an SRB.
Oh yeah.
It was super cool. It was super cool.
And I want to see, and apparently this is really, really easy in Florida, like really easy. I want to see an alligator.
By the way, I just want to say, like, I would probably have a blast at Disney World, but I still think it's kind of weird that I have this desire to go to Disney World as an adult. Like, what am I trying to recreate here? My childhood?
I get it. It's fine. I
It's
mean, it's not
weird.
fine.
It's weird
I
to
wouldn't
me.
go, but
It's not
I mean,
fine, he says.
I guess I'd go with somebody who wanted to go, but I've got
Oh,
no
we'd have fun
wish
if we
to go
went to
myself.
Disney World. No fucking doubt.
I mean, now I'd only have fun if there was nobody else there at all.
Ooh, it probably looks so cool, all abandoned and shit right now.
No, it's open again.
What?
It's open again.
Why?
I don't know. Some people don't give a fuck. I thought it was open again. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I thought it was open again, though.
I mean, I don't know. I haven't been paying attention to much of the COVID stuff. I've just been hearing about it here or there.
Whereas in the United States is cool.
Texas apparently is really... Austin, Texas specifically is
What's
a really
in?
fun place.
Well, I was going to say Cat seems to have disappeared out of the chat, but what in Texas? What is in Texas?
I hear the people are really great. I hear the food's great. Lots of barbecue.
Right. You can, with me, you can assume that I'm not interested in the people, wherever we're going.
Okay, well, that's what I hear about the most, is the people, the partying, and the food.
Yeah, the food, I guess. But I mean, what
and guns.
is in?
Boom,
What
boom, boom.
What is in Texas? If I wanted to go and see something, like Florida has alligators and rocket launch pads. California's got big trees. They've
got Disneyland too. Don't forget.
New York's got New York City.
The Big Apple, they call it.
What's Texas got?
Hey Alexa, what's Texas got?
Scott Oliver Hall is an American retired professional wrestler.
It's talking to me about a professional wrestler. Retired professional wrestler. Hold on. What is in Texas that is so great? 50 Reasons Texas is the Best State in America, written by the Houston Press. Oh boy, this won't be biased.
I mean, they would know, really, wouldn't they, I
agree.
suppose.
Let's see. 50. Port Arthur, a gritty golden triangle refinery town that somehow produced Janis Joplin, Jimmy Johnson, Robert Rauschenberg, and UGK. I don't know who any of those people except Janis Joplin are. Schlitterbahn is the greatest water park in America, and it makes excellent use of its hill surroundings. 48, get this, Chuck Norris. He doesn't sleep, he waits, and he's a Texas Ranger. Oh boy. Dublin Dr. Pepper, for those people who think regular old Dr. Peppers aren't Texan enough. These aren't places in Houston, though.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm actually looking myself, and there doesn't really seem to be anything particularly of note in Texas.
Remember what I said earlier? It's all about the people and the parties, I guess. We gave the world the Quaid brothers, who have given us some great performances. All right. 45. You are never far from a Whataburger. Food. 44. Texas has produced some of the world's best music, but Bob Wills is still the king, okay? 43. Okay. The stunning ecological diversity of the state, from the arid canyons of Big Bend to the shadowy forest of the Big Thicket. No state income tax. Well, that doesn't affect us. 41. Texas absolutely kicks ass in producing wind energy, and it doesn't get much greener than that. So they must have those enormous fans.
You mean wind turbines?
Fans. They're fans. Okay.
Fans push air. Wind turbines are pushed by air.
Looks like a fan, it's fan.
Jesus Christ.
Willie Nelson. Okay, whatever. 39. Failure is not an option. Okay. Yeah, it was never actually said by Gene Kranz, but it summed up generations of work at NASA that hopefully will not end with the shuttle era. So I guess there's something... NASA must have like a manufacturing... Let's see.
What? Seriously?
NASA, Texas.
Do you know the phrase, Houston, we have a problem? Have you ever heard that before?
Duh.
Well, guess where Houston is?
Johnson Space Center. That's the one.
Correct, yeah.
I don't think about these things all the time, so... You know? Friday Night Lights. Not the book, movie, or show, the real thing. High school football in small town Texas is something everyone should experience at least once. Oh, yeah, Command Center. Never mind, sorry. My brain is still groping with the last fact. Tex-Mex comfort food. Hangover cure. Drunken late night scarfing. Ooh.
I actually don't know why there's like a command center for NASA in Texas.
Because
I
they
don't
wanted
get
to.
that.
That's it. They should have just kept it in Florida.
So I mean, I don't know why they didn't. But
Maybe
sure
for the just so they could say Houston we have a problem, because Florida we have a problem sounds fucking gay. Who knows?
it wouldn't be Florida we have a problem though. It'd be like Kennedy we have a problem. I guess.
But the Kennedy Space Center, what city is it in? What is the actual city? I know it's in Cape Canaveral, but is that the name of the
Oh yeah, Canaveral, Cape Canaveral. Yeah, it is. Yeah,
Cape
you're
Canaveral?
right.
We have a problem. Well, I've been there,
That's-
so I remember that. You want music festivals? SXSW, Austin City Limits, and Summerfest are hard to beat.
I don't want music festivals now.
When you say you're from Texas, no one in the world needs to ask where that is. Okay, but
I don't know where that is. I mean, I know it's in America. I'm gonna have to look though.
the cheapest and best oysters in the world are plentiful from
Okay, right. Texas is like half the border of Mexico. Didn't know.
Yeah.
I actually did not know that.
It's quite large. It is the largest state, I believe.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this whole entire list is basically like, we produced this fucking pop icon, or this musician, or we've got this food, or we have music festivals, or we have a theme park, or we have... Look at this. You have to admit, Texas politicians can be very entertaining. Dangerous, yes. Misguided, almost always. But at least they provide lots of laughs. None of them intentional. That's number 20? More so than the ecological diversity in the fucking state? Oh, bat colonies. Bet eats bed. Don't eat bet. I can't hear you.
No,
there you go.
I'm not saying anything. I'm kind of lost for words. None of this is really selling Texas to me. If that's how we got onto this.
Well,
there's
Kris,
a lot.
they have Bluebell ice cream.
Yeah, I'm sure that you can buy that in other places too.
Oh, the stunning art museums in Houston, Dallas, and Fort Worth, and the fact that we know enough not to act shocked at the idea that Fort Worth would have a world-class art museum. Okay, I'm kind of shocked. I didn't know they would have a world-class art museum in Texas. That's the last place I would expect it. If I thought art museum, the first state I would think of was New York. And that's with no knowledge. Like.
Well, I mean, the one thing that I have learned about this is that I would rather go to Florida than Texas, which surprises me, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I think, again, we're running into that issue where, like, you know how America's like, oh, we're awesome, we're awesome, we're awesome. Texas is also, we're the most awesome American state. We're the most awesome American state. We're the most awesome American state.
We've got round to asking why, and it's like, yeah, why?
Yeah.
I mean, you've got a lot of people. Not as
Okay.
many as California.
This is so stupid. George Strait populated the state with his exes. Okay, bro. You know that song, All My Exes Live in Texas? I can't believe they put that on the list of 50 of the greatest reasons. Texas is amazing.
Seems like a bit of a stretch, doesn't it?
Oh, they put down some Beyonce lyrics. Okay. So if the state is just mentioned in a pop song by some popular artist, I guess that's now a reason that Texas is awesome, because it was mentioned. That's pretty low standards. Come on, guys.
I would say so.
Texans are so damn charming when they brag about their state. That is on the list of why.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a hard note from me.
That's a number one, by the way. That's the number one reason. See, I would imagine if you're writing a list like this, 50 is like the least important, and number 1 is like the biggest reason.
I'm just looking at a map of Canada. Quebec's massive, isn't it?
Yeah, it's huge.
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 Not as big as the Northwest Territories, though.
No. That northern part of Canada, which is the least populated part of Canada, is the reason Canada is the second largest country in the world. A lot of the time, I don't even think about the fact that that's all up to the North Pole part of Canada.
Yeah, Canada includes part of the North Pole, doesn't it?
It does, indeed. Whoa, was that Penny?
Yeah. You've decided it's time for food, haven't you, dog?
Well, that was aggressive. Isn't it time for food for you as well? Would you like to end this so that you can have your meal?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to feed the dog first, apparently.
Yeah, you're gonna have to. That's all right. Well, another